Alright guys, I think it's pretty safe to say that almost all the fab work is done. So let's go around, we'll have a good look at it, because coming up next is either I'm going to do all the body work on it, I'm going to fix up those fenders and stuff you see, make them all nice and line up good. I got some pretty wild ideas for some louvers and stuff like that. A bunch of fender flares maybe. I want to do something up with that hood. Gotta maybe put a cowl induction on it, because as you could see in the previous part of the video, or previous video with the motor in it and the hood open, there's not a whole bunch of room left in there. So really, I gotta decide whether I'm gonna take it all apart and do that stuff. I want to make a splitter in the front, some sort of air dams, gotta fix up that grill, make everything line up really good, make it all nice and tight. And the reason I'm thinking of doing this before what the next stage is because, well, right now it's all together, it's all good and solid, and I mean, my footprints on it. So that means it was definitely strong enough that I was able to stand on the front. I was inside the motor compartment and I was able to put my foot on it and jump out. No problems, no issues. The back end is all nice and tied up. Looks way better than it did before. It's much more solid, much more rigid, which is exactly what I wanted. So that's the thing. I'm thinking either get into making the body look really cool and setting it up like that, or I tear it all apart, check all the welds, and then do like a little bit of mechanical fitting. Like I gotta redo my motor mounts, things like that, and strip it all down to bare chassis and paint that, rip all the subframes off, all the control arms, everything else. Have those painted, powder coated, cleaned up, put new shocks on it, new bushings. So I don't know which way we're going, but let's just have a good look at what happened to it, what I did, where we're at now. Let's take a good look at the work so far I've done on the 71 El Camino. Yeah. So inside, we'll start with the inside. Got twin Sparco seats. The brackets are all done, made. I just have to mount them in properly. Seatbelt mounts are made. The harness bar is in the back. Everything's tied. Everything's locked in. Everything's good and solid. Down here, we got the shifter panel and everything. I made that with some sheet metal. Used some dies to make it like I bead rolled it. That's the word I was looking for. So the dash is pretty finished. I'm gonna have to cover that up, and I'd like to flock it, so like race car style. But anyways, that's sitting on there for now. Once I get the windshield in, I'll figure out a permanent mounting solution. And I think that's just gonna be like Velcro tabs or some sort of thing like that, just to hold it in snug against the windshield in the dash, because underneath it, you can't see there, but underneath it, I'll probably have a lot of wiring and stuff. The glove compartment keeps falling down. I gotta fix the latch in that, but I want to keep it. It's kind of neat. Maybe we'll throw a vent back in there or something. The face of the dash, it's kind of hard to see with the lighting, Okay, there we go. The face of the dash, it's an SS dash, which I don't know if it's worth anything, probably to the right person, but I think I'm just gonna sheet metal it over it and make my own dash. I got some gauges for it. I have to figure out a place to mount the computers, probably mount them underneath here or something, underneath the dash, or I'm not sure. I don't want to put them on the floor because I don't want people kicking them, stuff like that. I had an idea to mount them right up there on top of just above the shifter. I'm gonna have my e-brake mounted probably there. The nitrous bottle that was in the center was really just for looks, so don't worry about that. I'm gonna throw a couple fire extinguishers in here. We're gonna clean up the roof, paint it real good. I also want to put some lights on the inside for those nighttime track days where you lose something inside the cabin. As you can see, yeah, there you get the doors all done. I did the floors all myself. If you haven't watched the other videos, you can go back and watch those. There's a huge playlist about it. So this whole thing, the whole cab now is basically unibody onto the chassis. It's all tied into the roll cage. So speaking of roll cage, work our way back here. This part of the frame I had to build myself completely. There's a battery box. There you can see where the drive shaft's gonna come through. Now it's kind of cool because it's way above the floor, right? So, I mean, most cars are like that, I guess, but it won't bottom out if I bottom out the car. But this whole back section here, this was all made from nothing. Basically, I cut the frame pretty much, well, you can see down there. You can see the piece that I added on the left side. The right side is the original frame. So everything from back there, I chopped off and built completely custom. The whole roll cage I did here all myself. Basically, built this entire thing with just a grinder and a welder and a couple other tools, pipe bender, stuff like that. Most recent of the projects, I just finished up this bash bar in the back. There's the fuel pump is gonna fit there, but I might put it on the side and run some filters here, make it kind of elaborate, kind of cool. Now, the back, it's all complete Corvette independent rear suspension. It's all aluminum. It's gonna save me tons and tons and tons of weight. The wheels that are on it right now are a set of drag slicks. Don't worry about that. Those are just to size it up. They're pretty fat, so it kind of goes for that's the kind of size of tire I'd like to have on it. Obviously, it fits really well. You see from the outside here. That's pretty good fitment, I'd say. So these tabs here I just made recently as well. There's a bar that's underneath here. I'm gonna have to fix that up a bit and make it a little bit more secure, but that's gonna be there permanently. Even when I take off the fenders, these bars will stay there with a bar across there on the line of the box. I mean, it's not gonna look as cool with all the fenders off probably, but still it's definitely functional. And I want it to be secure as possible, so it's good and strong. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but the reason for all this actually is these rear fenders are removable from this seam right here. That's where they've been cut. The idea of that is to have just sheet metal in the back. That's way, if I do hit a corner or get tapped by somebody or do a wall tap, anything of the sort, these pieces are likely to crumple and it's not going to push the rest of the body out with it. From factory stock, these El Caminos had a unibody on the inside kind of deal. And so if you hit that hard enough, for sure, it would have pushed everything over. Underneath the tailgate, where the tailgate was, there was a big beam that went across structurally, making it all nice and tight with the bed. So yeah, for sure, if you get hit in that corner, it's going to push everything this way and all the rest. So now, if I get hit, boom, take out a fender. I just go to that LMC or whatever place you order your fenders from and order that whole new back section, drill a few holes in it, and put it right back up onto the truck. These doors are going to need a lot of work. They're just sitting on there for now, just kind of bolted up and everything. That one actually is stuck shut, so that's why I didn't bother opening it before. We got these cool little muscle car style windows on the side. That's an absolute must keep. The thing is, I have an extra set of doors. They're not the same color, but they're a little bit more messed up, so I can maybe chop those up and gut them and have them windowless and get rid of this whole seam here, this whole deal, this whole frame. Maybe make something cool with those, lightweight. I had an idea of venting the door coming into the back, feeding the, at the time, rear mount radiator. But now it's front mount. Let's go look up front. Starting from underneath, once again with the Corvette suspension. You can see the oil pan sitting there low. It's a truck oil pan. I got a solution for that. I'm gonna order it from Summit or something like that. There's a little bumper there holding the rad up, a little rad support. I'm gonna put brackets in that, gonna lift the rad a little bit. You can still see it through there. So the front bumper is tied into the frame. It's built like bash bar style where you can pull it off. They're all good and solid. Like I said, my foot was on that, so that's a pretty good indication of that. It's pretty tough. These hood pins, I made them all from scratch myself. Pull them out. These rods I made a cool technique I did. Go check the other videos. Check it out. Now I'll have a look under here. There's those hood pins. Now the rad sport, pretty simple. It's not even really sporting the rad right now. Goes across, holds up the fenders, holds up the headlights, holds up that grill. Now the grill is recessed a little bit, and so is the bumper. I pushed everything back to give it a more flush look. I'm gonna build on that later, body kit style and stuff like that. These mounts here, super strong, holding the fender up. There's a bolt in the corner, stock mounted. Those were the tabs I made for potentially hinges for the hood, but I put hood pins in now. Probably gonna put hinges because it's a massive hood, super heavy. Got some brackets down there made and everything. And here's the Corvette suspension on the front, also much lighter than the stock El Camino one, so I'm very curious to see what it weighs now compared to stock. It's gonna have disc brakes on it and everything. It's got that weird leaf spring underneath for a spring instead of coilovers. We might have to find a way around that. I'd like to get it to sit a little bit lower. Gonna have to find a solution there. So a master cylinder out of a Corvette, Willwood clutch cylinder. It was actually from an e-brake. I don't know if it's gonna work, but I'll have to start ordering stuff. The firewall was done sheet metal, and the bead roller, much like the floors. Same kind of style and everything. Down here we got the radiator. I built a bash bar kind of thing to protect the rad, plus the bumpers in front of it. Like I said, it comes off bash bar style, a couple plates bolted in there for easy access. I actually have to pull the whole front end off to get the motor in there because the motor is so far back that the crane needs the extra room. I moved the engine back, I think 9.5 or 8.5 inches from the stock mounting point inside the El Camino. And with this whole Corvette suspension setup and stuff like that, I hope it's gonna be lightweight and very balanced. So that's where we're at right now on the Drift El Camino build, race car El Camino, whatever you wanna call it. It's gonna serve both duties. I'm obviously gonna take it to the track when it's done because it's obviously not street legal. But the plan is just to enjoy it, have something fun to rip around in. And because race car, you know, treat it like a race car, try to tune it, try to do some cool stuff. I have a really crazy engine management system for it. That'll come much later. So if you guys want to see all that, just don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you get notified every time it's got something new happen, some news, some whatever. Anyway, it's been a long week of working on this thing. I can't even talk anymore. So peace out, dudes. Subscribe, keep watching. I appreciate it very much. Peace out, enjoy the ride. You only go around the block once, do it in style.
By the tranny on all high, by the cam and the youth run, listen me, crazy boys, hopeless.